I've got some pretty exciting stuff to share with you guys in this video, one being the new No Prep Hoosier tire and my opinions on that and how it worked for me. Also, I've got some new merchandise available. We're going to a new logo. I think a lot of people don't realize that I'm able to get parts as well as just tuning, so make sure you check that out and grab you some if you want. We're going to a much higher quality hoodie and t-shirt. I've got the hoodie right here next to me, and I'll show you guys a little bit about how that looks. If you had the previous one, of course it's a pretty nice hoodie. It's just your typical Gildan though, and I wanted to step it up and give you guys a little bit better of a quality hoodie and shirt as well. So make sure you guys go check those out and grab you one if you want. I appreciate all the support. Also, of course, the DO5 Hoosier is going to be on my site available as well. So if you want to try those out, let me know, or just grab it off the website, as well as CO7s, of course, if you just want to stick with the usual, and of course Mickey Thompson's as well. So anyways, let's jump right into the video. Today we're going to be talking about a race here recently in Hobbs on a backside no prep, so perfect place to try out this new tire, and ended up getting to really test it out by going against some killers. Had some very fast people that I had to race against. So first round I ended up drawing Brandy Hubbard, which you may have heard about him. He came out with his car just recently and has been winning a lot of stuff. I think he's actually won like half or over half of the races that he has entered in, so that is a very fast car, very capable, and I knew that he wasn't necessarily didn't have a lot of data on this kind of surface, but John Simpson that tunes that car, he knows what he's doing, and he has data with other cars on a similar surface, so it was definitely not an easy draw by any means. It's a very fast car, and you'll actually see in my next video where I recap the rest of last year where I went up against him a couple times, and he's a very tough competitor. So anyways, got that draw. Felt like it was probably the best time to draw him since he didn't have data. It's like, well, this is where I've got a chance. I've got some data on this surface, and I'd made some changes, of course. I hadn't made any passes on the DO5, so I was a little bit concerned about that biting me, but anyways, put the same tune-up that I have ran previously on that surface that has worked pretty well for me, and went to go up and make the first pass. Another thing that I should mention is it was very cold this day, so I felt like I felt like that tune-up was conservative if the track was decent, but with it being cold, I definitely wanted to be on the conservative side and make sure that I can get down A to B clean. So anyways, I'll show you guys that first round. Alright guys, so as you can see, I was able to grab the win there in the first round against Brandy. I was pretty happy with how that pass went. All the data looked great. It was super clean, dead stuck 300-400 feet, and then after that just a little bit of wheel speed. You can see in the video in the in-car that I did grab the scramble about mid-track just to see if it would take it and see how it would do, and I was actually able to gain 4 miles per hour over what I had previously gone out there before on the CO7, so I was very impressed by that. A part of that was, of course, that I had more power in it for the scramble, but also a large part of it was just the tire itself getting more traction, because previously whenever I'd ran the CO7 out there, if I did add more to it out the back, it wouldn't mile per hour any faster. It would just spin more, and mile per hour the same. So with the DO5, mile per hour faster, and I had significantly less wheel speed than I did with the CO7 out the back there. So it seems like this is a very good tire for a surface that bad. So I was really impressed with that. I decided to go ahead and turn it up everywhere for the second round, since the data looked so good. And also second round, I drew a little red S10 truck. Wasn't familiar with it, but I did see him make a pass earlier in the day, and it looked like a pretty nice and clean pass. And that's pretty impressive for that kind of surface. A lot of people have a very hard time getting down it cleanly, so I knew he was going to be pretty quick. So another thing that I should mention, after that first round, I noticed my CO2 had dropped about 50 psi, so I shut the bottle off and watched the regulator drop pretty quickly, so that let me know that I had a leak somewhere. Didn't really have time to investigate that, so I decided I'm just going to shut the CO2 off after every pass and turn it back on before. It wasn't leaking bad enough to run out, but I wasn't comfortable with leaving it on all day. So anyways, let's jump into the second round, and I'll show you guys how that went. So as you guys can see, that was a very close race right there. Luckily, I was able to get the win. I say that very, very luckily. You know, I mentioned the CO2 before that one. Well, I forgot to turn the CO2 on before that pass. So that pass was no CO2 at all. So at the end of the pass, it made 8.5 pounds of boost. That was the most that it was able to make, and I was planning on having well over 30. So that was a very frustrating realization, but thankfully I was able to get the win. He did get me by just like a bumper at the finish line, but he had jumped on the light. He cracked the tire just a frame or two before the light, so I got very lucky on that one. I did also get into the traction control pretty hard there early in the run. The change that I made to the 60 foot was a little bit bigger of a change than I realized, so very lucky there, and definitely was not going to be forgetting the CO2 after that one. So after I got my lucky round out of the way, we were going into the semifinals. There was only 3 of us left. It was me, Kraken, and Cali Nate. And Cali Nate ended up grabbing the buy chip, and I ended up grabbing the left lane against Kraken. So I was a little bit nervous going into this one for sure. I had raced him previously and just haven't been able to get around him. He's a very, very fast, especially on these kind of bad surfaces. So I definitely didn't feel like I had it in the bag or anything, but I did feel like I probably had the best chance of beating him that I have had so far racing him. So going into the semifinal, I did make some changes. Russell, my buddy, I was tuning his car there as well. He had actually raced the Kraken the round before and lost to him. So I actually ended up stealing some of his weight in order to try and help with that issue spinning early, and I also turned it down a little bit early in order to kind of, you know, try and meet in the middle. I still wanted to go a little bit faster than the first round, but I didn't want to, you know, spin and get into traction control as badly as I did in the second round. Unfortunately, since my CO2 issue, I didn't really get any data from, you know, 100 feet on or so because I didn't have any boosts. I just ended up leaving that the same as I had planned to have it the second round, and hoped that it was going to work, and hope that I can hold the Kraken off. So anyways, I'll show you guys how that pass went. So we were finally able to beat the Kraken. As you can see, I was very excited about that one. So excited that I accidentally turned my water pump off at one point there. Of course, I've become good friends with Steven since we've been racing together, and he's very, very fast and hard to get around on those surfaces. So absolutely no disrespect to him, really getting that excited. This shows how fast he is and how much respect that I have for how fast he is. So I was very, very excited about that one. I was also really excited seeing the data from that pass. I'd still gotten to the traction control a little bit early, wasn't really happy with that part, but I ended up grabbing the scramble there about 300 feet and actually felt the wheel get a little bit loose, and thought that maybe I just didn't have the wheel latched on properly, so I just pushed it in to make sure it stayed engaged with the splines if I didn't have it latched properly. And then after the pass, checked it, and it was actually latched properly. So I think what was happening there when the wheel got light was I was actually picking the tires up there mid-track. So that was something new for me. Definitely going to have to get a laser put on the car so I can tell when that is actually happening. But a nice clean pass. Super happy with that, and ended up gaining about 3 miles per hour over my first round pass. So was really, really impressed with that. That tire seems to be working, and I'm sure that weight helped out as well. So I was feeling pretty confident going into the finals against Cali Nate. He was having some issues earlier in the day. I know he had had an overboost issue at one point and bent a push rod. So he was, trying to get that fixed. We made sure to give him as much time as he needed in order to get that fixed, which he got it fixed really quickly. And then we went into the finals. I ended up just turning it down a little bit more in the 60 foot to try and keep it hooked up through there, and then left everything else pretty much how it was against Steven. So I'll show you guys how that pass went. So as you guys can see, we were able to get the win on that one. Unfortunately, my GoPro had died before that round, so I didn't have any in-car footage, but nothing too exciting there anyways. But it was really cool to get to race with Nate and be able to take the win. That's definitely a very big name that, of course, everybody's going to know in this no prep small tire world. So I was very, very excited about that. And anyways, talking about the DO5, as you may have gathered just from what I've talked about it so far, I'm definitely very impressed with it on this kind of surface. One thing, it definitely, with that very soft rubber compound that it has, it does seem that it feathers up quite a bit pretty easily, but even though it was feathered up a lot, it still was able to take more power than I was able to put down with the CO7, and it just seems like a better tire for that kind of surface. I'm curious to see how long it's going to last, but so far I'm very happy with it, and I definitely plan to continue using it on that backside type surfaces, and I also plan to try it out on some front side stuff and see if I can make it work or if it works better. I think it's got the capability to work better on some tracks that are pretty bad out the back. I think that's where it really shines. Of course, I was able to go pretty fast with it. That last pass actually ended up being the quickest and fastest pass of the night, and that mile per hour was 5 or 6 miles per hour above where I had been previously, and it definitely seemed like it could take more. So I was very impressed with that. I think I can go much faster to the 60 and 330 as well. I just missed the tune up a little bit there, but overall very impressed. So make sure you guys go check that out on the website if you want to grab yourself a set, or if you have any questions, let me know. Of course, grab yourself a hoodie and t-shirt as well. And we will see you guys in the next video. I'm actually going to be sharing some times from some front side no prep, so hopefully you guys are excited about that. Share some more data with you guys as well. So we'll see you in that one.